What is leadership?
What does it take to be a leader?
Why is leadership important in the sciences?
We will let our curiosity take over.
And we'll find out what it means.
And what it takes.
To become future leaders in science.
This week at Science Leadership Camp at Penn State University, the campers have been challenged to do several different things. For the most part, we start off with an inspirational moment. We had Dr. Pete Hudson come and talk to us. So he threw down a challenge for the rest of the week to think, who are you becoming as a young scientist, and why is it important for leaders to sit up and take notice of these problems that we all are faced with?
My God, I would give a whole lot to be sitting in your seat now. You can make a huge impact on the globe on what can be done with your science and your approach. And I want to come back and just remind you, grab your opportunities when they come up, squeeze them as hard as you possibly can. Do not underestimate for a second what you want to do and what you can achieve, because you will far exceed that time and time again.
Leadership is knowing what you want to do and being able to communicate to other people what you need done and having everything done the way you want it done, I guess.
I think leadership is being able to communicate with others and get across your ideas by setting a good example.
Step with your left foot.
We are moving a golf ball inside some pipeline, and we're trying to do it as strategic and as fast as possible, and we're using different tilts and different pipe angles to stop the ball so we can control its movement without dropping it on the ground.
We did team builders out in the pellet courtyard. The campers constructed different creations in a short competition in a way to get to know each other and work together as a group.
We're making the windmill. So the first time we tried to use this design, and we realized that it probably won't turn at all. So we're gonna cut these in half and then stick them in the ball, and hopefully it's gonna rotate better.
Today, I talked about my work with zombie ants and parasites that control behavior generally. I also talked about how I got involved in science to begin with and what it's like to be a young female scientist in the modern world. I think my biggest piece of advice would be listen to what is passionate for you. Listen to what you find curious and exciting and just go after it.
What the mentors they told us at the top of the mountain after our hike yesterday, that was kind kind of inspiring about kind of following our dreams and doing what we want to make sure that we have fun with our job.
You really need to think about what are you passionate about, what drives you, what would make you want to get up every morning and say, I love my job, I love what I'm doing.
No matter what challenges you guys face, you can do anything if you set your mind to it.
Throughout the course of yesterday, I really learned that leadership not only involves me, but everyone else. Like throughout the group activities in the morning, I really learned that sometimes it's best to step back for a second, let other people take the lead, rather than always try to force through yourself. You need to really understand what it is that you're doing and what everyone else needs to do as well.
Leadership to me is being able to step up to the plate even when you're not needed. Not just getting into a leadership role when nobody else will. Just being there and being the person to bring people together.
We just saw the nuclear reactor. The campers also learned about how reactors work and some applications of nuclear science and technology, things that we do here at Penn State.
Don't limit what you think is possible. I asked one of my professors, will we ever be able to see individual atoms? And I can remember him saying, nah. And today, as we know, it's not only that we can see an atom, we can actually watch it do its thing. I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let anybody or anything limit the breadth of your thinking.
Kids are assembling solar cars just as a fun way to utilize solar energy and see how it can be used to power, in this case, little models, but of course if you scale it up you get to give out powering real vehicles with it. And so they're going to have a race to figure out who has the fastest car, the one that goes the straightest.
Team building activities that we've done with our friends here, it showed me that a leader isn't in control of everybody else and isn't has everything set, but rather just somebody who just ends up bringing people together, and that allows you to accomplish so much.
And so yesterday some scientists told us that you shouldn't only be a leader for yourself, but kind of do it for the greater good, and I think that's really important.
On Wednesday morning, the campers attended content snapshots, which means they march off to hosting faculty lab that takes them through a half-day worth of information and hands-on activities, and maybe even recreating results from an experiment.
taking control and making sure everything goes smoothly rather than everything else going recklessly. Like yesterday on the canoe trip, it was kind of chaotic. People were going a little bit crazy because they weren't experienced, but it was like the leaders who was like calming everybody down and telling them like which directions to go.
Leadership is to be able to communicate with other people, and then like if they're struggling or if they're not struggling as well, to like take a lead and be able to show the way.
I think leadership has more to do with not just taking the lead, but like knowing when to let others take the lead and when to focus more on like group work and letting others show their area of expertise instead of just trying to do everything yourself.
Today we took a tour of the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority. We walked up to the transfer station where they saw how we receive about 400 tons of trash a day, how that trash is processed and then sent off to the landfill. Then we walked over to our recycling center where they saw how our recyclables are processed, baled, and then sent to various recycling centers to be made into new things.
You're going to be looking for different components of the phone, okay? And they're all in this box. And so for each one, you'll receive a point, okay? We were going over the evolution of electronics and seeing all the different things. So like over here, how it used to be old. Over there, we were talking about amorphous and crystalline structures. At the very other end, we were talking about how the screens used RGB and CMYK colors. It was very cool. It was all about technology and how it's evolved.
I think the gumdrop activity taught us a lot about teamwork and leadership, because trying to be the lone wolf and trying to get things done isn't going to work most of the time. You got to be able to work together, and I think that's what a real leader shows, that he can take others' ideas into account and really make the most with everybody.
Self-confidence. Yes, that is something that I see a lot of freshmen come into university, and they're very self-confident as seniors leaving high school, and then when they come, I think they're so overwhelmed. You have to maintain that self-confidence.
The goal of Science Leadership Camp is really to introduce the campers to the world of science and research, particularly here at Penn State. It's an opportunity to work in teams, practice communication skills, get to know each other, meet college students, live here, campus life for a week, but also be thrown into circumstances and situations that we hope leaves our campers feeling inspired to go out and make a difference in the world and be the best leaders they can be in their home, their school, and their community in the future and beyond.
Leadership is like, you have to listen to everyone. Listening is a key. Even the smallest, sort of not what some people would consider the least important voice, is essential to listen to. You have to pay attention to what everyone thinks, everyone's needs, and sort of what they want, and you have to find a way to make it all work together. You can't only go with the majority. We can't only go with the minority. You have to work with everybody.
I found out that being a leader is having self-confidence and having the courage to say and do what you believe is right. But it's not only about activating for yourself, but with working with others. And being a leader is not only about being that one team member that does everything, it's really about incorporating everyone's ideas into doing what everybody wants to do for the greater good of everybody.